Our next speaker is your host. Dr. Steven Zielke is the mastermind behind Rock the Block. He invented Rock the Block, made it to an instant success last year, and now takes a chance, goes on the stage and talks about, oh, I have to read it, the fear of missing out, how smartphones give our communication a chance. Steven.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, welcome again to Rock the Block 2016. Really great to have you all here. And I have to admit, I'm getting more and more relieved now. Things are rolling and rumbling. And I have to check just to make sure that I'm not getting some information I'm missing out. And that's a topic of my presentation, the fear of missing out. And fear of missing out is a big topic. I want to then cover how smartphones give a communication a chance. So let me begin with, let's call her Jessica, okay? So Jessica has a long week and comes home after a long week, and she's really tired. And she comes home, she lays down, she puts on her pajamas, makes some popcorn, whatsoever. She may want to get a book and read a book, and she's really relaxed and really happy. I mean, you know how that feels on a Friday evening. Just come home and relax and do nothing. Nobody there to bother you. And that's how Jessica feels. Now suddenly, out of nowhere, her friends call. Hey, Jessie, come on over. We're having this awesome party. All the guys from Rock the Block and Blappsta are there, and your best friend Ferk is also there. Come on over, have a party with us. So how does she feel now? She's at home, she wanted to sleep, she wanted to rest, and suddenly here's her friends telling her to come and party. So in this situation, she has a fear. Standard fear is fear of not having fun, in her case, of course. Not engaging and interacting with the friends that just called her, and good friends she might miss. Not being informed about what's happening and all the happenings out there. Not being able to talk with everybody next week. When the party's over, everybody talks about the big party, and she's not able to join that discussion. And she's not in the inner circle. And of course, last but not least, she will not meet Ferk, who she's madly in love with. So suddenly, and she's not invited for the next party, of course. So suddenly, she's not happy anymore, and she has this fear of missing out. So that is an example of a young girl with a fear of not missing out. It goes a lot farther. So what is the big picture, really? We want to show where does FOMO come from, where did it evolve over the years, and especially, that's interesting, we're here at the CeBIT Fair. What role does technology play in the way fear of missing out changed over time? So what is the fear of missing out? It's a desire to constantly stay connected with others and what they're doing. It is something that's deep inside of us in our psyche. It's nothing that we learn, but it's something that humans have inside. And it asks a question, am I relevant in any way? As a human being myself, personally, am I relevant? And of course, it is not a new phenomenon. It's nothing that's just came up since we have smartphones and we're able to call our friends on a smartphone. It's been there all the time. It's been there with the emperors, with the kings and queens, and they were out in the war zone and sending people back home, checking on what's happening at home. They had the fear of missing out what's actually happening at home. It also didn't dramatically change when television and radios were invented. Of course, a little bit, but not dramatically. But in today's technology, suddenly it becomes more obvious and a lot faster. But the technology itself is only the media, it's not the cause in itself. And the question I'm asking is, do companies have the exact same fears as individuals have? So companies have fears of losing their customers. They have fears of losing their market share, losing influence, losing the knowledge that's inside of the company, losing valuable employees, for example. And the bottom line is that they have a fear of losing relevance. So companies as well have a fear of missing out and a fear of missing their relevance. So the modern fears, if you look at today of a company, change a bit. We have a fear of being late with innovation. So many companies are trying to be fast in innovation because they have this fear of being very late in it. And we have the fear of missing out digital transformation. Anila from the Otto Group gave the opening speech today about digital transformation within the Otto Group. And she explained how difficult this is in a big company like Otto Group and how important it is. And there's a fear of missing out that digital transformation. It's also being vulnerable to disruptive technologies. I mean, we all know what Uber and the Google cars and all 3D printing does to our economy and does to other companies that are not coping with that fear. Is disruptive technology suddenly take over in a very, very short period of time the business of other older companies. And so there's a tremendous fear of corporates and large companies of missing out in terms of disruptive technologies. If we've been talking to banks lately, and they have a big fear when it comes down to mobile payment. I mean, how will a big bank deal with mobile payment, and will it be somebody like a Google Wallet or Apple Pay who will take over what the banks have been doing for centuries, and they will take it over in a very short period of time? So companies have that fear of missing out. And of course, lately in the last 5 to 10 years, the fear of missing out in social media and digital communication trends becomes more and more obvious. And social media, we have been having that fear of missing out. Do we have a social media account as a company? Should we have it or not? There are agencies that are helping us. I think by now, pretty much the companies have understood how important it is, but now we're at that step where people are asking themselves, what is the fear of missing out going towards mobile? And just before my speech, we had Otto here explaining how important mobile is for their internal communication. And so there has been this, or is this dramatic fear of exactly that. So let's talk about mobile communication. And yes, I love my smartphone as well as he does. It's extremely important for me, and I constantly have it with me. So the question in mind is communication, mobile communication, a trend? So who would consider it a trend? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. One? Actually, you shouldn't consider it a trend. Okay, we'll go there. So let's take a lot closer look on mobile communication. 4 billion smartphones out there, 4 billion, compared to 3.5 billion toothbrushes. So that's quite a trend, I'd say. 2.57 hours spent on a smartphone versus, and this is years ago, overruled 2.48 hours per day, even in the US. So that's a dramatic difference now overruling television. Google searches. Google just announced that the number of searches done through a mobile device overcome, there's a picture missing, the desktop searches. Looking at the social network activity, so what is happening in social media, desktop versus mobile. Facebook, 68% of the users use Facebook with a mobile device. Only the rest in desktop. Twitter even more. Instagram, we all know, is a mobile social media. It's a 98%. LinkedIn is different for some reason, interesting. LinkedIn is used a lot more on desktop devices. Pinterest is strong. Vine, and of course Snapchat, we all know, is 100% mobile. So is mobile communication a trend? Or is it a lot more a trend? A trend has an ending point. A trend will have a downturn. It will end its trend period. So Ben Evans, from a venture capitalist, said something really nice I like. He says, mobile is not a subset of the internet, it is the internet. And a nice guy from Google phrased something I personally like a lot. It's mobile is a new normal. So for me, it's not a question of trend. Instagram is mobile first. You all know Instagram. Pinterest was mobile first. Vine, mobile first. WhatsApp, mobile first. All those are mobile first. If you look just down there is Car Unity from Opel, mobile first. Periscope is mobile only. There is only a mobile version. There's nothing else. Snapchat, mobile only. Nothing else. Tinder, I don't know what Tinder is. Oh, okay. Mobile only. Uber, we all love it. Mobile only. No alternative. So they're all mobile only. So is your company or your blog, I want to now compare companies and bloggers, are you focusing on mobile? I mean, we just saw, is it a trend? It's a norm. So the question is, are you focusing on mobile or are you missing out? Are you experiencing a fear of missing out as a company or a blogger? So to all of you, you all Snap, you Insta, you tweet, you do all that, you use Periscope, you use WhatsApp and Vine, maybe even Tinder. Do you optimize your content specifically for mobile? And if you're bloggers here, answer that question. Is your blog mobile? You will answer, yeah, I have a responsive website. Well, that's not what we consider mobile. A responsive website, like taking a newspaper and putting it on an iPad, but not changing anything, and not using anything of what the mobile device can do as a value to you and to your readers. It's just putting it in different media. A responsive website is just shrunken and fits the screen. That's it, nothing else. So we personally, of course, that's our business. We believe in the power of apps. And apps mean a lot more than responsive website. They mean personalization, personalizing the content for you as a reader. And they mean a lot of native features you can implement in the app that are different to what a website can offer. It means a lot more interaction, especially if it comes to social sharing and interacting with your communities outside the app. And it, of course, means a push notification, which is a key element of mobile, and we'll get there. And in some cases, it may even mean putting intelligence into your smartphone. So this is a chart showing the push notification interaction of one of our customers. And it shows clearly that when we send out push notifications, there's an instant reaction in consuming content. Now, imagine yourself as a corporate or as a blogger. Doesn't matter. You're creating content. You're doing content management, content marketing. You're trying to get the content out to readers. How do you get the readers? You get the readers through social media. You get the readers through search engine optimization. And all those techniques are used. And they're very much relying on the reader finding you. And as soon as you have a new post, how does the reader get to know about that new post? If it's through social media, maybe you're lucky he will find out about it. If it's just through search engine optimization, maybe you're lucky about him finding out about it. If you go to push notifications in a native app, instantly get to the reader. Of course, that is not interesting for every reader, and not every reader will install the app. That's very obvious. But the readers that have installed the app, we see clearly how they interact with the push notification and instantly get to your content. Also, very important is speed and usability. You are capable of defining your own usability, your own speed. You can do caching, you can do offline reading, intelligent caching, you can preload data, preload information, have offline reading, and all those things that you can with a native app and you can't with a mobile website. And there are, of course, many, many other benefits that come, and it's up to you to define which one you want to use for your readers. So my focus always, I'm always, as an entrepreneur, always looking into the future. And I want to see and explain to you now what I believe is the next mobile. What does that mean for us? And let's look a bit in the future. And for me, the future has just started. I'm probably going to say the same thing next year and the year after. But there's so many things coming up. And I want to give a little brief overview of what the future brings in terms of mobile. There won't be, that's my statement, won't be any mobile communication without an app in future. There will be no single site or communication channel without an app. That's what I'm prognosing. The question won't be, as a blogger or company, if you need an app, but what kind of app do you have, and how do you get that app to your readers? And to explain a little bit what's happening, I want to explain to you a certain feature that had just come up. For some may know, some may not. There's something called app indexing. App indexing was developed kind of in a little battle between Apple and Google. So imagine the Googles ruling the world of search. Suddenly, Apple comes in, and others as well, and create apps. And those apps are outside the Google search. They're outside of the world of Google. That's a fear of missing out of Google. Suddenly, here's a company that creates millions and millions of apps, and Google has no clue what's happening in those apps, which is great for Apple. So Apple decided, oh, well, we'll do app indexing. We'll look into the apps, and we'll look what content is there, and we'll let Siri search that. So if you take your smartphone and you ask Siri something, you have a nice recipe, it'll bring up Clara's food blog app and go directly into a recipe. And Google will not even know about it. They will not be able to place advertisements. They will not be able to place statistics or anything like that. Big, 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 big fear of Google. So what did Google do last year with Mobile Get-On in March or April? They introduced app indexing for Android. So now, we're in the benefit, suddenly, as users, to be able to index apps on Android and Google devices, meaning that we can, through a feature called deep linking, can go directly into the content of the app. So this is a website. Oh no, this was a website, and let me go back and show again. So we're opening a website, we're scrolling through the website, and we're finding a link on the website in the browser. We're clicking on that link, and instead of opening that link on the website, we find out, or the system finds out there's an app, and we'll open the content in the app. That is called deep linking. App indexing, on the other side, is when we search in Google, and Google will give all the results, and Google will know that result is indexable. It's in the index, and there's an app for it, and Google will show you the content of the app on their search. So you now will open directly into the app. So suddenly you're staying truly mobile to mobile. That is called app indexing. Now, of course, Google goes the next step further. Let me hold on with this real quick. So what happens is you're going on those websites, and you're seeing all those apps. And we all know that it says installing the app. You say install the app. It takes a long time. You have to put your fingerprint, type in your password. It takes 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Then you open the app. Then you're in the content, and you say, nah, that takes too long. What do I need an app for? Of course. That is going to change very, very soon, and it's already there. And it's called Web of Apps. Web of Apps means that the app itself is being streamed content-wise to your smartphone. You don't even have to download an app. It's like downloading a website. There's no difference. Why do we think of websites and apps anyway? I mean, websites are HTML code. It's data and bits and bytes. Apps are bits and bytes. It's just a question of how we name it, and in the end, how they interact with our smartphone. We also always think of this thing, oh man, I would never install 1,000 apps on my smartphone. It'll take me forever to search and find the app of interest. That will not be the case in future. We will not think of if we have 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 apps on our smartphone. They will be there because you will not search by icon. This thing, an app, is a program and it's an icon. It's something of the past. The future will just say, search, find, what is the information you're looking for? And it'll open the native app. And the native app will have features that are beyond what we can do today. They have features that are personalized, intelligent, a lot stronger in terms of social sharing. The social sharing already on the smartphone is integrated on your smartphone, meaning that if we share out of an app to Facebook, we don't have to type in our login for Facebook. It already knows that I'm on that Facebook, Twitter, so-and-so feed. So that is the web of apps, and then for what I feel is coming next is that while you surf and while you search on an index, let's say on a Google search, the app is instantly downloaded without interacting. It's without asking to install. I mean, your browser doesn't ask, oh, do you want to install this HTML file? Every time you wanted to see a website, spiegelonline.de. Oh, do you want to install that website? No, it's not asking that. And it will not ask that in the future in terms of an app because it doesn't have that point of being a program anymore. I also want to, since it's all about features, first of all, if you have any ideas of nice features, bring them up. You are the users, your corporates, your bloggers. There's no limitation on features and things we can put in an app. So if there's somebody comes up, say, I have this great idea how I can make my communication to my fan base better and clearer, bring it up. We, as developers for apps, we're geeks. We don't know what's interesting for you and how you want to communicate. And we're just trying to get everything that's interesting for you. And we're just coming up with, I don't know if anybody knows of the PONR social sharing. Nobody? That's good, because we just invented it a few weeks ago. It's called the point of no return. It's probably the most effective, creative, and user-friendly social sharing enhancement ever. I mean, it'll just blow your mind. If you have that in action, your social sharing rate will go up 500%, trust me. It was invented by somebody really, really famous, Dr. URL Umashankar Gopalapillai. So it's a joke. So that's my employee, that's Uma, he's one of our lead programmers. And the point of no return social sharing, yeah, we're experimenting with it. It's a little beta, so who's interested can check with us. It's just something we're playing around with. So we want to test. We want to see how we can engage, how we can increase social sharing habits, because I think social sharing is a key element for bloggers to increase their reach and increase their reach into mobile. So for me, obviously, the future of internet is mobile. For me, there's absolutely no doubt. The future of online communication definitely is as mobile. For me, there's no doubt. And the future of blogging and corporate blogging is mobile. For me, there's absolutely no doubt. Thank you. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Hi. So we talked a lot about missing out, and earlier today I opened the Blappsta app. First I went with this one, which is not on full HD by now, and
and it's what?
It's not on full HD, and we have iPhones with full HD for 2 years now. An app like that, I give every paid app which is not on full HD back because it's ugly. So I searched. There's another Blappsta app, Blappsta Preview. But that does nothing for me if I don't have the.
If you don't have a blog.
Yeah, if I don't have the plugin installed.
Right.
So I get basically no info what Blappsta is, or can't really use the other one because it's ugly. Don't you have the fear of missing out on people who are say, okay, that's not appealing to me anymore, so I will delete it and move to another product which is appealing to me,
sure.
Unlike your app. Sorry
sure.
to get so personal, but I found it was the perfect
So,
example.
yeah, I mean, obviously, we have a fear of missing out greatly, all the time. And we're a startup company. Now, we're 10 people organizing this whole conference and creating 700 apps and developing this and doing a big app for Opel, et cetera, and doing internal communication. There's some apps that are older and some are newer. And the preview app is for you to test your blog. So if you don't have a blog, you don't have a plugin installed, yeah, you cannot test it. It's all on the website. We just launched the website yesterday because there were some issues there, people not understanding. Yeah?
Just a moment.
So if Google now lists contents of apps, and if I see in the web display in the Google search an app, I have to install the app. On my smartphone, there is no place for, let's say, another 10 apps just because there is a hit.
Yeah.
In the content, especially a website, it has different content. It has usually articles or whatever, and is not a sale instrument or whatever. An app has a different meaning than a website. Website you have text with some messages, and this app just has a purpose. It's not the text. And so shall I, if I have a website search, if I search for Google, then shall I install the app and download another 10 megabytes or 20 megabytes just to see the hit? It doesn't work. So I don't have the space to always to download the apps, all the apps, and just because of a hit. Nobody will do it.
Yeah, that's wrong. Sorry. Simply for a simple fact. We can look at yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So if I say the future is mobile, then that's the future. You're talking about 10 megabytes on a smartphone. Let's look back 3 years. You would have said the same thing for 1 megabyte. Look back even longer. The cell phone was this big, you couldn't download anything. So I don't have a fear that Google and Apple are not going to take. They will make people buy new cell phones if you look at the future. That's the opinion of Google and Apple. And so Google's already showing the results in the Google search. They rolled out last year in the US first. It's now coming to Europe, and it's progressively coming. They have about 5 or 6 apps that are using web app streaming. This will be rolled out as well. And if you look at web app streaming, there's no difference in data volume as it is, for example, with your website. So there's no difference between a website and an app because you're not downloading an app. So web app streaming, you're not downloading apps. You're not installing anything. It's streaming the content of the app.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, so we're a little bit ahead of time. So, and we're waiting for Muda, the famous social media dog. And yeah, you're the boss. Shall we take 10 minutes pause?
Yeah, let's.
Okay.